Da 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 da. What's my good cheer? Welcome, welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. Let people know that I've gone live. In the meantime, if you've never popped into one of my lives before, I am Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And I have got a list of goals. I heard a story one time. Well, I've heard it many times, but about this during the Depression when the stock market crashed and how everybody was so desperate. But at the same time, there were people who were making so much money and they set these goals that they were going to make a certain amount. And when they hit that certain amount, they accomplished the goal, they accomplished the dream, and they didn't have anything else to strive for. And a depression set in, and right, people decided that there was nothing to live for. Nothing like that, you guys, but kind of the idea of how these ideas can wreak havoc on our emotions and in our thoughts, right? Because we can bite onto ideas like pit bulls with a piece of raw meat in your mouth. Hi, Andrew. We certainly can, and we can make molehills into great big mountains, and we can make small situations that could be taken care of in with a conversation, traumatic events that promote change or ignite an idea of making a different choice, right? Which again promotes change. So I have to be sure that, I'm coming off my big win, right? I'm editing video, you guys. I haven't edited or looked at any of my video today. But I said today I was just going to relax. I wasn't even going to leave my apartment today. I did manage to get a couple of can't help myself, right? Because every little bit I can do if it's comfortable. If I don't notice that it's getting done. I accidentally ended up cleaning my walk-in closet and sorting and everything and putting everything away from my camping trip in my walk-in closet. That wasn't the plan. But oh my goodness, do I feel good right now that is done. I have an empty, great big Rubbermaid container here, ready to switch over my summer clothes into my winter clothes, switch my closet over, and then I put all my summer stuff away. And I get donation bags away or together, and I get bags to go to the laundry room for anybody here that might feel that they're not quite prepared for a season or they don't have a pretty outfit because it doesn't fit me anymore. It's not my style because my taste is changing all the time. I purposely instigate change in my life. I have to. But if I have my way, I'd be doing it in baby steps all the time because it alleviates the stress and the anxiety of not knowing what's coming next. And sometimes in our day-to-days, in that repetitiveness, we can get so good at it that if an emergency arises or something around the house, in our I don't know where I was going on there. Oh yes, about the idea of accomplishing, a goal or a dream and then just feeling really miserable afterwards because you've accomplished it. You hit that high, right? You got that super duper dopamine hit from your holiday in Northern Ontario, you guys. I had a fantastic time. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Melvin. I hope your week is going good. I saw Melvin yesterday for a little bit, but this is the first time I've talked to Andrew since I've been home from my trip. One of my moderators from my Chatters Live show that I do on Sunday nights. Melvin too, coming in, showing up. And if you guys ever wanted to come in on that show, it's a great show. It's not a show really about anything except being a community, about sharing with each other, getting to know each other, supporting each other, right? Supporting each other. And it's a show that I've had for years and years, and relationships have come from it, you know? And isn't it strange, but at the same time, isn't it wondrous that in a digital age, that an introvert, right, can thrive, right? Somebody who spends time with themselves but doesn't necessarily socialize, right? That we have this opportunity to be social beings in a digital age in a safe, comfortable spot. I'm sitting here right now. I'm safe. I'm comfortable, right? And it's amazing because I've always been in hospitality, and I've always been in social settings where my service and my interest in doing a good job and representing well, that everybody had, right? Whether it was my customer, whether it was my boss, or whether that appreciation that I felt in doing a good job, right? These good feelings. And so I understand how hospitality can influence. I needed, right, hospitality and working in retail, right, in building the sales. I needed that idea of experience in all these jobs that I had, that makes it, remember what I said about having the experience that you can end up after a while to be able to do certain things in your sleep. I used to work in a hardware store, right? A lot of those plumbing issues, electrical issues. Like in my own personal life, I can do that for myself, right? Pretty keep it simple, right? I don't like electricity. I don't like getting zapped. That stuff is dangerous. I would much rather hire a professional, but we all know that that's not always possible, right? For lots of reasons. But getting back to these goals and this idea, and we're just pulling it right back because I tend to trail off, right? I will make a note of it. Maybe that will be a nice Halloween video or something, Malvin. That's a good idea. I remember saying that it was a good idea. But I'll have to borrow a vehicle for that one because, right, we're going back on a budget. I'm going to try a little bit better by myself than what I did last year. And we're getting into goals here, and this idea that you have to get into something right away, right? I accomplished my trip. It was a magnificent trip, but was it absolutely perfect? Could I have done better by myself by that trip? I do believe 100% that I could have, right? There were lots of things on this trip that worked out very, very, very well for me, like my Rubbermaid containers, where I knew whatever I needed, I knew exactly where it should be, right? From the drive and how everything worked out for me, right? Even the problems that arised in the trip taught me lessons, right? And also put me in a social situation to bounce ideas off of people, right? But I know how we feel when we hit that high in our life, and then all of a sudden, and you go to, right, you just forget that amazing trip that you had, or that amazing surprise, or that amazing visit from a friend, or that amazing experience, whatever it is, and you forget about it instantly and you go into that. It's not noisy me. It's kind of like, what next? What's there to live for? Right? I accomplished what I said I would accomplish. And you can easily put yourself in a negative mindset. So I always want to stay in a positive mindset. And the way I do it is getting things done. Just like I got things to done. I have no idea where that energy came today. It wasn't in the plan. I was able to get my Google photos and my reviews to the different parks done today. Um, I am a Google guide, so when I go traveling, I come across interesting places or I take my photos. They're appreciated. I've had a lot of views, I think millions of views on my Google photos. It's something I'm proud of. It's something I would like to do more of, be more responsible, especially when I'm such a Google girl myself. But, right, it is a process. And as I move forward, circumstances will change and those opportunities, right, to have more experiences. I know I can walk down the street and be a Google guide and take a picture of the Pizza Hut, right? Google Maps can be good with that. But that's not what Cindy does. Cindy likes the trees and the oceans and the seas and the rivers and the mountains and the sun. And I like Mother Nature. And when I contribute to the maps, that's what I like to contribute to, right? Sometimes I like to do the hotels and stuff, but I don't stay at enough hotels to be a good reviewer of them. I think I'd be pretty good at that. Me and my dad, we used to go lots of road trippings. Well, my whole family did, but we always stayed at different hotels and motels, and they were always such fun experiences. And we used to do it in the patterning that we'd be doing the same places all the time, especially that Sands Motel in Reno. Like I could specifically see our room. I could specifically see the parking lot. I could specifically see the swimming pool, the street almost. I was fairly young, but we did that motel so many times, and I had some experiences in that motel. My youngest sister almost drowning in the swimming pool, and it just happened that I opened my eyes in the water and I saw her, right, struggling in the bottom of the deep end of the pool. Otherwise, she would have drowned for sure because I didn't even know that she was down there, right? It was just a fluke. But, and it was a big pool. It was a big pool. Okay, so back to some of these goals. Obviously, we got to get my glasses sorted out. So, where I have some extra money and maybe attach a little bit of free money from paychecks, we're looking around the 10th of next month. I can't go very long, right? There's just not, I'm not going to be able to do a TEDx talks in these glasses. Now, I do have another set, but they're not good glasses. They've got handles, but they have their own issues, right? That's why they were replaced. So glasses have to be taken care of. I have to have some dental done this year, and I've dedicated my income tax return to having that done. So I'm going to have my dental taken care of, which I would have liked to have done last year, but I accomplished the things that I had planned last year, right? I I could have dreamed bigger. Let's say that. I could have dreamed bigger and accomplished bigger dreams. But maybe it was in my hesitancy or my lack of confidence that I could create something bigger or stick to the plan, which I didn't quite do. But I am a work in progress, and I am proud of the effort I made, and I am proud of what I created in videoing it, and I will get something up tomorrow. I promise, right? And I have to keep my promise. Today I said I would try. I said I would work on it. But tomorrow I promise I will get something up tomorrow on oh, really? Minutes apart, too. Holy moly, Andrew. I've always been an incredible swimmer. I used to practice even as a small kid. Maybe it was a little bit of obsessive compulsive or something, but I used to practice in the bathtub, and maybe you guys did this too, in holding your breath. I did. I did it everywhere. So I did it in the pool, I did it in the bathtub. I'd even just do it sitting on the edge of my bed just to see. It was just maybe something that I used as a coping mechanism for myself. But I do remember that I used to pride myself in how long I could hold my breath as a child, even as a teenager. I remember I still did that. I also practiced floating on my back. I was a big girl, so I was probably a pretty good floater. But yeah, almost drowning for myself, no, never. And I have always been a little bit of a water baby. Um, um, but Andrew, right? Drowning. I'm not sure if I've even known anybody who's drowned or come close to drowning in a pool, right? But I don't remember too much of my early childhood either, too, right? That's part of that the trauma that just kind of blocks out some of that scary stuff, right? And maybe it's just a bad memory too, and I just honestly don't remember. There are episodes that I remember, but they're distinct episodes that would have made an imprint on my mind that it would make sense that I do remember those couple of things. But for the most part, no, I don't remember much before maybe 5 years old. 5 or 6 years old. I don't remember too much. I remember episodes, I do, but I don't remember too much, right? Maybe my first day of school, grade 1. I didn't go to kindergarten. I didn't go to kindergarten. I don't know why I didn't go to kindergarten. I don't think any of us kids in our family went to kindergarten. I think we just all went to straight to grade 1. I think for the most part, I know for myself, I was already reading. I'm not sure if I was writing yet, but for sure I was reading by the time I got to school. But they put me in a trial program where they did the alphabet, and the alphabet was not A B C D E. It was like Abbas, like it was the sound of the letter, right? And they put me in a special trial just to see if it would be beneficial to help people learn to read and write a little bit better. And I don't know if they didn't take an interest in me, that they didn't even realize that I was already reading by the time I think I was 3 or 4 years old by the time I was reading. I was jumping off the high dive, swimming in the apartment pool. I was very independent child, you know. Me and my mother, when my husband did a tour in Croatia, uh, he asked me to go live with my mother. I had been living in my mother, near my mother, since I was 18 years old. It was going to be very difficult. It was something I didn't want to do, but the army kind of, I don't know, they pay you practically for storing all your goods and furniture and stuff. And he thought it was a good idea, and I loved him, so I agreed that I would go live with my mother, right? It was only 6 months. I could do 6 months. It was hell. She hadn't changed, and my feelings towards her hadn't really changed. And I was very uncomfortable, but I was already off doing my own thing. So I was out with my friends as much as I could. And I basically just stayed there to sleep. But we did have an opportunity because I was an adult by then. And I had questions as an adult about my childhood, about my upbringing. We got into some really deep deep conversations, and it right, she was kind of standoffish, but it was enough for me to pick up the gist of it. And I think it was the beginning of me being able to understand a little bit of, you know, we are what we were brought up to be, right? In that programming. So my experience with my mother was just an extension of the experience my mother had with her father. And I had an opportunity to really talk about some of these things that really bothered me, and some things that didn't bother me, but I still questioned. And I was able to get some resolution for those. Now, I don't know why I'm talking about that now, but except in the fact that, you know, I was able to find some understanding. Not at that time did I find forgiveness for her for what had happened, because I did feel that I was robbed of my childhood, robbed of my teenage and those opportunities to um, the world's definition of properly integrating and socializing with others. But because I was so hyper vigilant about my safety and what other people thought of me, the damage was done, right? And I didn't even realize or wake up to any of these ideas until well into my 50s, so that I grew up to be a dysfunctional, can I say dysfunctional? Yes, I have to say dysfunctional adult. I think in some ways we are all dysfunctional because we're all trying to reach unattainable expectations of society when we really are dynamic mishmash. Heinz 57, like a true mix of all different kinds of epigenetics, traditions, cultures, religious ideas, political ideas, and not just one, but bombarded by many, 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 many. And for the most part, right? Never deny your own, because in the end, that's all you've got. That loyalty and those understandings and truths and traditions and ideas, it goes to your family, right? Because in the end, that's all you've got, and you all have to be on the same playing field. And unfortunately, really shouldn't have been the case for me. It really shouldn't have even been the case for my father, I don't think. But life divvies out what life divvies out. Grateful that I had, right? It wasn't a matter of misery loves company, but we were both in it. And so we were just adapting and conquering and doing the very best that we can to possibly get through it. And we did get through it. We got through all of it. And we got through it with understanding, and we got through it with forgiveness, right? But that doesn't mean that I'm supposed to surround myself when we're all so different, right? Yes, never deny your own, because in the end, that's all you've got. But that doesn't mean give yourself up, give your ideas up, give up your understanding, your beliefs, right? That I can't be dictated by others. And I think this was the problem that I had with my mother, right? Is butting heads, because she was always a seeker and she was never getting answers. And yet I was so sure and butting heads with her in that sureness that it became almost like resistance to her. And it became almost in her mind, like as an adult, a challenge that she was going to put me in my place. And again, in the 60s and 70s, we didn't have a good grasp on postpartum depression like we do now. And my mother had already felt like she had failed me in her first attempt at having a child, that, that I was a lost cause. So I might as well, right, be the lost cause. And she would be doing better by the next child and the child after that. And she did, right? But I picked that role. There's a difference between butting heads in that resilience and then actually allowing yourself to be beaten down in your own ideas, or being so limited in your self-confidence that you can't make a proper decision for yourself because, right, you've been so used to being dictated to that you're just waiting for somebody to give you permission, or somebody to give you the cross-eyed evil eye, right? Or what are you doing? Right? So relationships are so it's almost, I was gonna, in like Hawaii where they have those stones where they're all red, and you stand at one end and then you have to run across these rocks that are flaming red. I think they do it in Hawaii. Fire walk, isn't that what they call them? The fire walk. It's kind of like that, right? But you're bringing all the tools, bringing your lightness and your dance from rock to rock, but at the same time looking for the rocks that don't have that solid red glow so that you have less opportunity of burning your feet, blocking out the noise and just seeing the focus of the end line of those rocks and just blocking out everything. And I have no idea where I was going to go with that. That's the first time I've done that for a while, right? Because in these lives here on YouTube that I've been purposely spending a little bit more time in the conversation than what I was doing on Instagram, right? And so I find that I can trail off sometimes. But when I lose that train of thought, right, I have to come back in and I have to take the lesson for myself, because I sometimes understand that through the serendipities, the crumbs, the coincidences as to why that happened, right? Maybe it was just to bring me back onto the main branch, right? In setting those goals, in not letting myself be defeated because I accomplished my goals, right? It was a fantastic vacation. What story can I tell you guys about my vacation? I could tell you how disappointed I was at the little bays. Like, they have little alcoves. So like when you're driving on the Trans-Canada Highway, if you start to doze, if you find that you're dozing and you got a long wait between towns, they have these little coves where you can just rest for a quick nap for an hour or have something to eat, or right. But they've just polluted the rest stops with trash, water bottles, diapers, doggy bags, underwear. It was the antifreeze, windshield washer. But the worst of it was the water bottles. The worst of it was the water bottles. It was very disheartening. I did a couple of the rest. Oh, maybe that's the one that I can put up tomorrow. I did film one of the rest stops that I stopped at on my way home. I was aghast by how the shape that it was in, that people who were stopping there were just treating it with so disrespect. And I pulled out all my garbage bags that I had, and I just made a big pile. I just made a big pile of stuff, but I did a pretty good job. I did it before and after. So maybe we'll do that one tomorrow, because I don't think there'll be too much editing to do in that one. I think it'll be really easy for me to find, because it'll be one of my last videos, because I was on my way home. Okay, you guys, I've set goals for this year. Like I said, October, we're going to do the glasses. So I'm going to make my appointment tomorrow for my eye exam, set my appointment up for that, and start saving a little bit of money if I can between now and then. Probably won't get too much, but there's some government funds coming in, and I should utilize that properly. I have dental that I need done. I haven't been putting it off, but now I could tell that I really do need to pay some attention to my teeth. And so that'll be a big one. So I'm going to use my income tax return for that this year. I need to get a wireless microphone, because you guys know I destroyed my wireless microphone again. So I'm going to, when my sister asked me what I want for my birthday, so one time I allow her to buy me something, I'm going to get her to buy me the wireless microphone. She always asks me, she always wants to get me something that I want, and I want that. So that's what I'll say, the wireless microphone, the exact same one that I got last year. I'm going to start planning my vacation for 2024. I'm thinking of maybe just doing a quick 3-day trip to 3-day trip, 4-day trip maybe to Thunder Bay, just to dig for amethyst, right? But just a quick trip, but then do a vacation and go west, right? I am from British Columbia. I have not been back to BC in, I have to say, 30 years now. Yeah, I have to say it's been 30 years since I've been back to British Columbia. So I was thinking maybe I might like to drive through the mountains, the Rocky Mountains. That might be fun. The plan again to get that car last year, right? We got the vacation. We got this beautiful laptop that I'm now working on. I did so good with the laptop, and it wasn't the plan, but I was so wrapped up in making sure that I had enough money for my vacation. I thought this was going to come in later in the year, right? But then my intuition took me, and we wrangled it. This is a $5,000 laptop. I got it for $1,000, right? A little bit worried Amazon it getting to my into my home, getting it into my hands, right? But it got to me safe, and it's exactly the laptop I need for editing my videos. So I'm really pleased with that. But it wasn't in the plan to do it when I did it. It was in the plan for last year, for this year, but it wasn't in the plan. The opportunity hit. My intuition said, do it now. And I go, vacation. And I did it. Best decision I could have done for myself was to get this laptop when I did, right? I've been able to practice editing the video, getting my editing program downloaded onto the laptop. So I've had an opportunity to explore a little bit as to what I can do with this new program that I have, right? So it takes that weight, financial weight off me, because I had Premiere Pro last time when I was on YouTube, and grateful I'm not doing a lot of editing on these lives. I don't do any. It is what it is, right? But I want to make sure that if I put the SUV on the list, that's going to be the miracle. This is going to be something I'm going to move towards, right? In my goals and right, just like I did last year, but it is in the patterning that I get to recognize how I failed last year. And I failed because I was a little bit heavy, I guess, in the immediate gratification, in the immediate reward. The pink ice donuts with the sprinkles, or oh, that cute top I just had to have at work, or look at that pair of shoes. I had to list a lot of shoes. When I say a lot, I meant 10 pairs of shoes in a lot. I I I posted them, I listed them to sell because I've got so much footwear I don't even wear. And I went for a walk last night while I dropped off my truck. I dropped off the truck I rented. It was an amazing truck, right? Lots of fun. Ready to move on to my next favorite truck. But what was I going to say about that? I dropped off my truck last night, and then I ended up walking about 6 or 7 kilometers in the worst shoes ever. They were not walking shoes. It wasn't my intent to do walking, but all of a sudden that fresh air hit me when I got out, and walking home was just the most perfect thing for me. I didn't walk all the way home, but I made it to a mall, which was like 6 or 7 kilometers away, and I picked up one of my buses that run by my place there, and yeah, it was really nice to be out, and everything went great with the return, right? I took the car for a car wash. I filled up the tank, and then when I drove the car back to the dealership, I stopped off a block before the dealership, and I put another $10 in it, even though it would only take like $4 or something. I put another 10 in there. It was nice and full, and dropped it off. And yeah, they messaged us today and said that the return was great, right? So I even took my little vacuum cleaner and I cleaned out the inside of the car. I'm surprised how fast I put that camping trip away. Like, it's all away now. It's all washed, it's all cleaned, it's all put away. It's all ready to go for next year. So I thought tomorrow I could challenge myself to possibly work on the closet and get the summer clothes and the winter clothes switched over so I can see what I have, right? I have one more goal on that list, but I'm going to take that list and I'm going to cut it out and I'm going to put it on my fridge for myself. But as I accomplish these goals, right, you guys will be here with me. And then when I accomplish that last goal, right? That last goal, which is pretty magnificent. Well, the SUV is magnificent, right? But that's just the bonus, right? We work towards it, doing the best that I can, understanding that it's in the patterning, and all it takes is making a different choice, saying no to the pink ice donuts with the sprinkles, and then I could put $1 away, right? And that could add up in a year, because it's exactly a year, because I go on my vacation the same time every year. But if that 6/1 is manifested, you guys will be able to spend a little bit more time together, right? Maybe have a few more adventures, a few more trips, right? Every year, because I have arranged my life through my choices to make it happen. Okay, let's go back into some of these comments. If you guys want to pop in, say hi, you're more than welcome to. Wow. I love swimming, Andrew, right? And water, because we're 90%, well, we're more than 90% water, that I think that we should be consistently in it and around it at all times. We couldn't survive without it, could we? Right? I have no idea how I managed to uh, stay grounded when it comes to making friends. I think maybe it was because I needed it so much that I put that extra effort in. And maybe it was a little bit of trauma bonding. Maybe it was a little bit of codependency that made it so I might have been a little bit needy, right? I can admit to that I could be needy. But at the same time, the evidence in my marriage doesn't represent that in any way. But sometimes that neediness is how we feel and not actually how we live, how we move, right? Meaning sometimes we're just it's in our minds. But I get it. I get it, Andrew, right? I was very lucky that I was able to find some spots in little groups that right were happy to have me. But of course, right, we're all young and silly and mad and right and use and abuse each other, right? That's part of like what Miley Cyrus sings about, right? I was young, right? I was young then. We all did silly things when I was, well, when I was young, I most definitely did lots of silly things. One of the silliest things I could have done was end up in glasses over the silliest thing. On our legislative building, we have big floodlights that just beam onto the building, right? We used to call it Purple City. I only tried it once, but I was in glasses a couple of weeks later, totally destroyed my eyes looking at those floodlights. But I tell you, in the time, it was so much fun because we just walked from building to building and all the lights in the windows and everything would be purple. Every light was purple. It would last for a long time, just like me and my glasses lasted for a long time. And now I'm gonna have to dish out $1,000. Oh, right. But it is what it is. You don't cry over spilt milk. It's a necessity. It's not something, right? Grateful I didn't crack the lens because then it would have to be done tomorrow. And that's not possible. For the very least, I can live with this until I can drum up that money, and it'll just be a couple of weeks and we'll be on it. But I'll make that appointment tomorrow to get my glasses done. And we start on the new list for the year, right? Understanding that things will be added to that list as we move forward because opportunities will arise, right? Ideas will pop into my head. That feeling of being a pit bull with a piece of raw meat, and I just got to do this, right? So I leave room in my life for those things too. But I make big lists and I make little lists. As much as if I have lists for the end of the year, I have lists for every month before that. I have lists for next week, and I have lists for tomorrow. Tomorrow, what do I got to do tomorrow? I got to wash my bedding, one more load, and we're done. But I want to wash and sweep my floors. I do not want to burn a lot of energy because I feel right now I'm being called to rest. I'm being called to be emotionally good, solid, without stresses coming into my life. So basically, right, means staying in my apartment, but I want to get things done. I want to move forward, and I'm doing that today, right? But for tomorrow, there were a few things that I needed to get done tomorrow. I did. Did I write them down? I might not have even write them down, but I better write them down. I know one of them was editing a video. We got to get that done. I have to phone my sister because I haven't talked to her since before I went on holidays. And as much as I'm living my life, right, and I'm not beholden to them, I know, right, my sister is uh, um, anxious, call it anxious, to be able to have a sense of, right, for herself that everything is okay. So I'll just give her a phone call, see how she's recovering from her hip replacement and how she's healing up because she's been doing her physio on her own and she's doing good. She's an A1 post-op patient only because she don't like doctors. And it's funny, she goes to more doctors than any of us, right? But it's always top of mind. And remember that idea, what I said about my dad. He woke up every single morning with that idea that today might be the last day. And my sister, she wakes up and she's reminded every time she looks in the mirror, right? Or she even tries to stand up or she reaches for that walker, or she has to do her physio. It's all a reminder at the fragility that she had gotten herself into, right? I'm going to not say gotten herself into, right? But it's all a contribution mishmash of situations, right? That culminate. And some of those questions that I have, right, about why there isn't a lot of my sister Tracy in a lot of these videos on my, well, only Alice. Alice pops in every once in a while for my lives. But my other sisters, they're not interested in this. That was a part of my relationship with them where I went along with what they wanted to do, right? They just weren't interested in what I was doing. And so I had to sneak off. I had to go off and do my own thing. And it was in the lessons to be independent. And I've always been independent. But sometimes, right, we forget. Sometimes when things aren't going good or somebody's willing to help, that we can just hand over all that power to somebody else. And I'm grateful to have the reins back and grateful that I have these understandings that in order for me to move forward, I have to have these little goals in place, and not just for the year, but for the month, for the week, like just like a grocery list, right? Staying on budget, practicing. I might fail in all of those, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to try, right? And if I do fail, you can be guaranteed that list is still there till the end of the year, and I will consistently try and fail and try and fail and try and fail until I get something right. Hi, Nancy. Oh, my goodness. I was going to comment on your train set when you were looking for people to give their opinions as to what to do about your train set. But the idea is, Nancy, and this just answers the questions, you got to do what you love, right? It's not about being a YouTube superstar. It's about doing what you love and sharing what you love. And if that's the case, right, you just carry on with what you're doing. But yeah, I saw your post. I just wanted to say that I saw your post. And I know that you were really serious and you really put your heart into that post because it's a long post. You were really pouring your soul out there. So yeah, good for you, Nancy, right? In being genuine in that. And it's good to get feedback, but in the end, you have to remember it's your choice. And I've always been taught, right? You do what you love and you can't go wrong, right? But you got lots of things that you love, Nancy. You're dynamic in your interests too. So, right? Like you said, your other channels are doing well. I used to like those late night walks too, Andrew, very much. But I haven't done one of those in a long time. Wait till you see one of the storms that I got stuck in, Andrew. I videotaped me on the highway. I could barely see the road. I got stuck in the mountains in a rainstorm. Yeah, but we'll send. I'll get editing those videos. I'll get something up tomorrow, and that's a promise. Okay, you guys, my voice is gone. I have no idea how I got as much as I done today because it was a day to rest. I did rest, right? I did find that time for relaxation, but at the same time, things are getting done. And I got a cup of coffee tonight. I'm using my fall cup today with the colors. I love this cup for fall. Okay, you guys. Have a great night. And we'll see each other tomorrow. Bye. Oh, that's my good cheer.